Welcome to the SmartKeys podcast. You know, if you're a professional operating in the modern business world, you probably feel that the single biggest constraint on your time isn't how fast you can type. It's not about meetings.
No.
It's how fast you can absorb just this tidal wave of information that's always coming at you. We're talking critical reports, articles, white papers, and that eternal river of emails.
It really is the ultimate efficiency bottleneck. I mean,
Yeah.
as the sheer volume of data just explodes, the ability to gain knowledge quickly, but also thoroughly, that's becoming the defining factor.
Right. If you spend 3 hours on a document that your competitor got through in one, you've already lost the advantage right there.
Exactly.
And that's why we're doing this deep dive. We're focusing on a really strategic resource from Felix Römer, the founder of SmartKeys.org. It's titled Speed Reading Techniques. Read faster without losing comprehension.
And it was just posted in January of 2026, so it's very timely. It treats reading not as this, passive thing, but as a critical high-leverage skill.
A genuine efficiency hack for the future of work.
Our mission today is, well, it's highly practical. We want to give you a step-by-step framework to boost your reading rate while making sure you're actually holding on to that information.
So we're going beyond just tips and looking at the actual cognitive science, what the brain allows us to do, and maybe more importantly, where the realistic limits are.
Exactly. Sustainable improvement, not gimmicks.
Okay, so let's unpack this, starting with the cold, hard mechanics.
Yeah.
I think most people believe reading is a smooth, continuous process. Our eyes just sort of glide across the page, but that's not right, is it?
Not at all. That belief is, according to the source, fundamentally flawed. The reality is much more jagged.
Jagged.
Yeah. Your eyes don't glide. They execute these tiny rapid jumps called saccades, and they stop for brief moments.
And those stops are the fixations.
That's it. And those fixations are the only moments where information is actually captured and sent to your brain to be decoded.
And the duration of those pauses, those fixations, that's what's critical.
Precisely. For the average reader, a fixation lasts somewhere between, say, 0.25 and 0.5 seconds.
A quarter to a half a second.
Right. So if you can shorten that pause, or even more importantly, if you can process a wider group of words during that pause, your efficiency just improves dramatically.
But this leads us straight into the whole hype versus reality thing.
Oh, yeah.
We've all seen those programs promising like 2,000 or 5,000 words per minute. What actually happens to our comprehension when we chase those impossible speeds?
Well, the research is really clear on this. There are cognitive limits. They're rooted in just how fast our visual cortex and language centers can process complex, unfamiliar information.
So you might see the words, but you're not actually reading them.
You're not understanding them. Those ultra-high speeds lead to what cognitive scientists call catastrophic comprehension loss.
Okay, so what's a realistic, achievable ceiling then for, sustained knowledge acquisition?
For complex material, or anything you're genuinely learning for the first time, comprehension really starts to fall off a cliff beyond about 400 to 500 words per minute.
So our goal isn't to hit some arbitrary number. It's to maximize how much we retain up to that boundary.
That's the goal.
This brings us to a fascinating point the article makes, and I think we should highlight it now. The ultimate speed hack. It isn't a mechanical drill at all.
No, it's background knowledge. It's the absolute game changer.
How so?
Well, think about it. If you're reading a report on a topic you're already an expert in, let's say Q3 earnings for a company you follow daily, your brain recognizes all the terms, the concepts, the jargon instantly. Your fixations are shorter and you need fewer of them.
So that cognitive preparation lets you hit those higher speeds naturally? Your domain expertise just reduces the mental work of decoding?
Exactly. It's the true accelerator. So while we're focusing on the mechanics to remove friction, subject familiarity is always what's going to give you the real speed.
That's a great way to frame it. So if the mechanics are what we can control right now, what's actually stealing our time?
The central time thief, and honestly the easiest target for improvement, is just redundant eye movement.
Too many fixations.
Too many fixations, yes. But the real productivity killer is regressions. That's when your eye physically bounces backward to reread a word or a phrase you just read.
I know I do that all the time, especially if I hit a technical term or just, my focus wavers for a second, I bounce back just to check.
And that impulse is incredibly costly. The source material highlights that these unforced backskips can eat up to 30% of your total reading time.
30%? Wow.
Yeah. If you can eliminate that one bad habit, you gain almost a third of your reading day back. That's the strategic goal here.
Okay, so before we apply any techniques, we need a benchmark. You can't improve until you know your starting score. How can you, the listener, establish a reliable words per minute baseline?
It has to be disciplined, and you have to record it. So first, find something that's typical of your daily reading. A report, an industry article.
Not a novel.
No, something from your work. Calculate the average number of words per line. Then read normally for exactly 1 minute, mark where you stop, and do the math.
Average words per line multiplied by the number of lines you read in that minute.
And that gives you your WPM. And the source really stresses logging that trial note, the title, the conditions. Was it an email? Was it a dense report?
Because that consistency lets you track real improvement against comparable material over time.
Absolutely. Once you have that reliable baseline, you can really start to quantify your gains.
Okay, so we need some tactical training. We've identified the time thieves, too many fixations, and these costly regressions. What's the most straightforward technique to enforce better discipline?
The highest impact tool is actually deceptively simple. It's called meta-guiding. You probably know it as finger tracing or pacing.
Just using a pen or your finger under the line of text.
Or even a mouse cursor on a screen. It provides a visual anchor for your eye.
But why does that work? Why does just moving a pen under the line help us read faster?
It's because it reduces your cognitive load. It removes the guesswork. Your eye naturally wants to follow movement.
Ah, I see.
So when you use a pacer, you're stabilizing your gaze, which reduces those unnecessary fixations, and you're creating a rhythm. And that rhythm is crucial.
Because it physically stops you from back skipping?
It physically prevents it.
Yeah.
You have to resist that impulse to jump back. You have to trust the pacer and trust that your brain got the word on the first pass.
And once you commit to that, you start cutting into that wasted 30% of time immediately.
That's the first big win.
Now, the article moves beyond simple pacing. It gets into 2 advanced drills. Let's talk about perceptual expansion. What's the mechanism behind that?
Perceptual expansion is all about training yourself to use your peripheral vision more effectively when you read. We waste a lot of time fixing our eyes on the empty space at the beginning and end of a line, or on less useful words like a or the.
So instead of starting right at the far left margin, you consciously start, what, 1 to 3 words in?
1 to 3 words in, and you stop a few words before the right margin. You are training your eyes to chunk information rather than decoding it word by word.
You're maximizing the useful words you get per glance.
Exactly. You're increasing the words captured per fixation, which means you need fewer fixations to get through a line.
And the second conditioning exercise is the 3x practice pace. This one sounds painful. Why push for 3 times your target speed?
It is intensive, but it's short. Think of it like high-intensity interval training for your eyes. You're using these short speed drills to overwhelm the process.
And force the brain to do what?
To compress the fixation time. You're not aiming for comprehension here at all. You're just breaking the habit of lingering on words. It makes your normal, desired speed, say 400 WPM, feel suddenly relaxed and easy by comparison.
Like running sprints makes a light jog feel effortless.
That's the perfect analogy.
Okay, if we connect this now to the bigger picture of professional output. True speed reading isn't really about mechanical tricks, is it? It's more about high-level strategy, selective attention.
Absolutely. True efficiency for a professional comes from a layered reading approach. You cannot apply the same pace to every single document.
A 50-page report should never be read line by line on the first pass.
Never. You need a workflow that dictates when and how deeply you engage based on your objective for reading it in the first place.
So let's detail those 3 essential stages of the layered approach. What's stage 1?
Stage 1 is skim. This is a rapid pass. You're looking purely for structure headings, bold text, executive summaries, Copic sentences.
You're just mapping the argument.
Right. And this is where you can easily exceed 700 words per minute because you are not locking in details. You're just asking, is this relevant to me?
Okay. And then stage 2 is scan.
Scan is a targeted search. Once you know from skimming that, say, the key data is on page 37, you scan that specific page for the one name, the one date, the one number you need. It's like using a search function, but with your eyes.
And then the most important stage, the one that conserves our deep reading capacity.
Stage 3, reread strategically. This is where you apply your slow, focused, 100% comprehension reading, but only to the critical paragraphs.
The methodology section, the conclusion, the 2 arguments that challenge your assumptions.
Exactly. You're applying your limited bandwidth only where it truly matters for your objective. This is information triage.
This, though, raises the critical question of retention. How do we make sure we're actually learning anything? We need comprehension checks.
The source outlines quick comprehension checks that are absolutely essential. It's about retrieval practice. After you finish a chunk of text, you have to engage your memory immediately.
So what are the checks?
They're threefold. First, you ask, what is the main point? Second, name 2 key supporting details. And third, and this is important, pose 2 self-questions that you should now be able to answer from memory.
And answering those out loud, or even just summarizing the key takeaway in one sentence, that strengthens recall exponentially.
It does. You're testing the transfer of data from your eyes to your long-term memory. You're making sure the reading was active, not passive.
And this all feeds back into knowing when to slow down?
It has to. Pushing past your realistic WPM is mandatory when you're dealing with complex, technical, or totally unfamiliar material. High retention will always trump a high WPM number.
Okay, let's move to the ultimate takeaway. A concrete action plan the listener can implement tonight. The core suggestion in the source is the 20-minute practice routine.
This is the non-negotiable step. Consistency beats intensity every time. The idea is to commit to one crisp 20-minute session that mixes these drills 3 to 5 times a week.
The source calls them PX-style drills for Precision X.
Because the focus is on disciplined, precise movement over just random speed bursts.
So let's detail the flow of that 20 minutes. What's first?
It starts with a 2-minute warm-up using your pacer, aiming for a 1 second per line pace. This is just to steady your gaze and establish that habit of constant forward movement.
Okay, 2 minutes, 1 second per line. Then what?
Then you immediately move into a more intense 3-minute set at 0.5 seconds per line. This shortens your fixation time and forces those faster saccades. And you should mix in those perceptual expansion sets here too.
So you're consciously starting and stopping inward from the margin.
Exactly. You're training precision, then you're forcing speed, all in a very controlled way.
Now, we also need to talk about on-screen reading. So many of us do most of our reading on a screen. The article mentions tools that can help.
It does. Technology is often overlooked here. On-screen pacing tools like line highlighting or these RSVP apps can play a big role.
What's RSVP?
It stands for Rapid Serial Visual Presentation. It flashes single words or small groups of words in the same location on your screen. It basically eliminates saccades entirely.
So it forces the pace.
It forces the pace, and it can be fantastic for immediate gains in speed. But there's a crucial caveat for professionals.
Which is?
While those apps boost your WPM right away, they don't train the physical muscular mechanism of your eye as effectively as using a finger or pen on static text.
So you might get faster on the app, but it doesn't translate back to a physical report.
You need extra practice to transfer that discipline back, so don't rely solely on the app. Use it as a conditioning tool, not a crutch.
So what does this all mean? We've covered the mechanics, the strategic layering, the actionable routine. The final step is just consistent application and tracking.
Set up a simple log, date, time, WPM, and a short note on what felt smooth or what felt sticky. Set tiny weekly targets. Shave 2 seconds off reading a page, or raise your WPM by 20 points.
Sustainable progress comes from that deliberate practice.
Not from waiting for some magical program to fix it for you.
And we want to leave you with that powerful final thought that we brought up at the beginning. Because while training your eye mechanics is crucial for removing friction, you have to remember the cognitive reality.
Vocabulary, background knowledge, and deep familiarity with the concepts in your field. They shape your reading gains more than any single drill ever will. The ultimate speed reading hack is simply investing in your domain expertise.
The more you know about the topic, the faster your brain can process it.
That's the bottom line.
That is fantastic context to end on. We'd encourage you to pick one report or one industry book this week, run that 20-minute Precision X routine 3 times, and just log your progress.
Start applying these concepts today and watch your information processing capacity grow.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into professional reading efficiency. We explicitly encourage you to subscribe to the SmartKeys podcast for more essential insights.
And the full article, Speed Reading Techniques, Read Faster Without Losing Comprehension, is an excellent, really detailed guide. The link for it can be found right there in the show notes.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.